Hello class, welcome to the last episode of our demonstration for gg.ng website. Last time we simply created the header, but today we are going to the design proper. We are going to be designing a page that will capture these listings here, and then a page for these categories by the left. And in order to do this, we simply go to our WordPress dashboard. Now, for you to be able to do that, you need a plugin. So what you do is go to plugins, go to add new plugins. I already have a plugin that I installed for this, and is by the name Classifiers and Directory. Classifiers and Directory is not the only plugin that can help you to build a listing website, but rather we have hundreds of plugins that you can use, but I prefer to use Classifiers and Directory because it's quite easy and simple and straight to the point. So in your own leisure, you can check up other plugins as well and see how they work and the different functionalities. There are other plugins that may give you a better feel and functionality than Classifiers and Listing, but for the purpose of this class, I'm going to be using Classifiers and Directory. So what we do before we go ahead, we go to our settings and make sure that everything is fine the way we want it to be. Go to our settings. We have the general setting. In the general setting, you set things as the number of days or the duration a listing will appear on your website, the text editor, whether you're using text area or WP editor, whether you want to be collecting money for people to make their ads featured, you come to enable price and do that. You want to use images to display people's ads, you use here the number of images that a particular user can upload for each ad, and so on and so forth. A lot of other settings that you can see here, like the new tag. If a user posts a new listing, will it carry the new tag, and for how long will the new tag appear? Then for the popular tag, for listings that are popular, how many times will a listing be viewed before it can be tagged popular? These are the things you check here. And for how long will a listing appear before it is tagged as expired, and for how long will it be expired before it is deleted entirely from your database? These are the things you set in the general settings panel. Then we'll come to the login and registration setting panel. The login and registration setting panel, this is where you set if you're going to be using the login and registration for the plugin, because the plugin comes with its own login and registration feature. If you're going to be using it, or you're going to be using your own customized login and registration, this is where you set it. So we want to be using the login and registration for the plugin, so we tick enable here. Then for monetize, this is where you set if you're going to be taking money from your website and how do you want to take this money. Boosted ad here, and the price, as well as the description for boosted ad. This is where you do those things. Then the payment gateways, this is where you set how you want to receive payment. We have offline here, and we have online payment. The online payment is set to test mode, so we are not running any real website here. If you're running a real website here, then we are going to be using the live mode, but here it is set to test mode, and as well as offline payment. Then we also have the email settings. The email settings, this is where you set when a user or the admin receives mails, depending on the interaction between a user and your website. Now look at what happens. I tick those things I want admin to be notified for when they happen on the website. For example, when a new listing is submitted, admin is supposed to receive a mail for that. When a listing expires, admin is supposed to receive a mail, and order is created, admin is supposed to receive a mail, and so on and so forth. The same way as the user. When a user submits a listing, he is supposed to get a mail on his email address that he has submitted a listing successfully. When his listing is approved, he receives a mail as well. When a listing expires, he receives a mail as a notification. When he creates an order for payment, he receives a mail, and so on and so forth. Now, how does the mail come? You also have other settings where you set the message that the user and the admin receive for mails. So you can adjust this message to however you want it. You can even adjust it in such a way that a user receives a mail that calls them by name, and the admin receives a mail that calls the admin by the name. So this is where you set all those things. Then in advanced, you set you set your social shares Where do you want your social share buttons like Facebook, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share on WhatsApp, Pinterest and LinkedIn to appear? Is it on the general listing page, or is it on the detailed listing page? I prefer it makes sense on the detailed listing page. When a user clicks a listing, when he views the listing description as well as the seller and the amount, he should see a button that motions them to share it on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter if they really want to do so. Then pages. This is where you set the pages for the listing page, the location page, the single location page, category page, your search page, your user listing page, your user dashboard page, the listing form where they fill a form and submit for a new listing, checkout page, login form, registration forms, user account, password changing and forgot password. This is where you set the pages you want to use for all those. And for each page you set, you should always take note of the shortcode, copy the shortcode and paste on that particular page that you have created for it. For instance, I created a page for listings location. I should be able to copy this shortcode ACADP_locations and paste it on that page, so that whenever I load that page, the locations for all the listings will appear. So that is it for settings. What we're going to do right now is we are going to set locations as well as categories, because without locations and categories your listings will not appear no matter how many they are. So we'll go straight to locations. Now in setting location, always bear in mind that we have a parent location, we have child location, we have sub-child, sub-child, and for how many levels you want, you can get them. For instance, I want to set Abia State, Abia as a parent location. I type Abia, then I come to parent location, I'll leave it at none and I click add location. Now I want to add another local government in Abia. Let's say Umuahia North. So Umuahia North is a child of Abia because it's inside Abia. So what I do is that I come to parent location option and I choose Abia, so that Umuahia North will now become a child of Abia, while Abia is a parent location. Now I want to set Imo. I'll come to here, I'll choose none because Imo is not a child of Abia. So I'll click add new location. Then I want to add Owerri in Imo. I'll now come to parent location and choose what? Imo, because Owerri is a child of what? Imo, while Imo is a parent location. So when you see here, you see how it's going. Imo here, Owerri here. This slash behind Owerri is showing that Owerri is a child of what? Imo, which is ahead. If I put any other location as a child of Owerri, you see double slash. If I put any other location as a child of the child of the Owerri, you see triple slash, and so on and so forth. So that is basically how it works. So we've added like 4 locations here. Let's go back to our categories and add categories. So the truth is that categories work in the same fashion as locations. For instance, I have a category named electronics. Then inside electronics, I should have televisions, I should have radio, I should have home theater, I should have office electronics, and so on and so forth. So let's say I have electronics here as the parent location, and here is set at none. Then I'll click add new category. And remember, I can use images as well to represent my categories. It's a matter of choice. Then I come under electronics, I want to add TV. So what I do is I come to parent location, I choose electronics as a parent location, I click add new category. So TVs become a child of what? Electronics. I want to also put radios. I also come to parent location, I choose electronic because radio is an electronic. So radio becomes a child of what? Of electronic automatically. Then I want to add a new category, let's say fashion. I choose fashion. Then I come to parent category, I select none because fashion on its own is a parent category. Then under fashion, I want to put a child category which is men fashion. Then I come to parent category, I choose fashion. So men fashion becomes a parent category, a child category of fashion. Then I also come, I choose women fashion. So women fashion becomes a child category of fashion rather. So this is basically how these things work. So I've succeeded in adding like 6 different categories here. 2 parents categories and 2 subcategories. Under fashion I have women fashion and men fashion. Under electronics I have radios and televisions. So you look at here, you see the count. This count here shows you the number of listings that are under each of these categories. Why this is the category ID. So for here the counts as 0. So I've done this. I go to all listings. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about the time that we get to add listings. All listings are empty, so I need to add new listings. You add the title of the listing. Title of the listing could be anything you want it to be. Let's say I want to add a listing under electronics that we have created. Remember, you can only add listings for the categories that you've created. For instance, we have electronics and fashion, and then you want to add a listing category, a listing that has to do with grocery. Then it's not going to work, because you can place grocery under electronics, neither can you place grocery under fashion. So you have to add listings based on the categories that you already have set. So that means when you are building a live classified and listings website, you have to make sure that all the categories that you can ever think of are captured, so that for every goods that a user wants to advertise or wants to create on your website, the person will definitely have a category that suits them. So want to create an electronics now. So let's say we have a 32-inch LED Samsung TVs becomes the name. So I quickly go to I would need images for this, so I'll have to search for images for LED televisions. So I'll simply look for some images to use. I'll save this image. Remember, you create your images by yourself. You create your images yourself by taking photos of the product and services you want to advertise. Now, if you're running a live listing website, the issue of images becomes a concern of your users and no longer your concern. So your concern should be not to allow them to upload images that have the tags of other people's website on them. That should be your concern. So before you approve any listing, you try to make sure that the images your users are uploading have no tags. For example, people who use gg.ng, once you upload an image on gg.ng, the tag gg.ng appears on the image. Now, supposing a user wants to advertise something on your classified listings website, and now the image he or she is uploading is bearing the tag gg.ng, that will definitely be sabotaging your efforts. So before you approve a listing, because for every listing that is being published, you have to approve it before it appears on the website. So before you approve any listing, you have to make sure that the images don't bear any tag from any website. That is for live websites. But for testing websites like ours now, anything can go. So this is basically where I put the description of the product. Let's look for a description of a LED TV. LED TV description. LED TV description. Let's look for a description. Let's just get this copied, and we just have to paste it here. So this is it. we just copied it and pasted. So this is where we select the category. These are the categories that we have. So it's under what? Under TVs. Okay, if I should select electronics, it should be TVs. So how much do you want it to be listed for? Let's say I want it to be listed for 45,000. Then this is where, if you admin, for instance, you admin and you want your viewers to think that you're actually getting visitors, you can come here and manipulate the views count. Maybe I can simply put 300 views count, so that when a viewer visits the site, the viewer will be seeing it that 300 persons have actually viewed that product. Or the person who is advertising the product on my website can log in to check how his goods or service is faring, and he will be seeing that 300 persons have actually viewed it, while in reality nobody has viewed it. I'm just manipulating it from the dashboard. It is very, very, very possible. So this is where you write your address, number 12 Ogunlade Street, Abia. Then your location, you have to choose Abia, then Umuahia North. You have zip code here. You leave that. A phone number, you just put in your phone number. Your email address, put in your email address. Put in your email address. Then upload image. We got to upload those images that we just downloaded right now. These are the images. So we insert into post. We inserted one image, we insert another image, we insert a third image. So we've inserted. So I want you to understand something. This is the admin panel for adding new listing. We also have the users panel for adding new listing, and of course users panel for adding new listing, you don't have all these functionalities there. It's just a straightforward. So we will get to users panel for adding new listing. So we just want to add admin listings for now and see how our listings homepage would look like. So I click on publish. So also remember, this is where I'll mark them as featured. If I want to mark it as featured, probably the user has paid for featured website. This is where I'll mark as what? As featured. And remember, as an admin, any user that submits a listing would definitely appear here. So what I do is that when a user submits a listing, the status will be pending. When the status is pending, I will simply come here and edit the listing and change the status to publish so that it will appear on the website. Because if the status is pending, it's not going to be showing on the web page, on the home page, on the listing page. So this is where I will change the settings. So if the user paid for that listing to be a boosted ad, I will also change it there and make it a boosted ad. I hope you got that. So I've added one listing. Let's add another listing. This time around, we're going to be looking for a fashion material, since we created two categories: fashion material for women dresses. So I'll look for an image that typically describes a woman's dress. So these are women dresses. I will just have to copy. So these are women dresses. I would save a few of the images that I want to use for my listing. Let's get 3 images the way we did for the last listing. So I have a let's make it 4 in case one of the images decide to misbehave. So I have 4 images to choose 3. Then I'll come here and I'll copy my description. Actually, this product doesn't have a description. We're looking for a product with a description. Okay, this is the description. It's quite short, so we just have to copy this description. I'll paste the description here, and the title will be classy female dresses. Classy female dresses, under category women fashion. How much am I to sell this? I'll sell it for 8,300. Do I want views count? No, I'll leave views count. Address number 12 Adesina Street. This time around Imo. So location Imo, Owerri. Phone number, this is our phone number right here, and this is our email address. So I upload images. So these are the 3 images we are going to be using. Okay, we'll upload. You take a second one, it's starting to post. Take a third one, it's starting to post. So this time around, I come here, I want to make it a featured, and I want it to never expire. I'll click never expire. So this listing is going to be here for as long as the admin of the website wants it to be. It will never expire. So I click publish. I have published. We'll go back to our all listings. So we have 2 listings here: classy female dresses and 32-inch LED Samsung television. Now remember, in our settings we have pages where our listings are supposed to appear. So we'll go to pages and check for our listings page. So our listings page, this is a code for our listings page, ACAD P listings _ listings. We're going to copy it because we want our listings page to be on the home page, so that once a user visits the site, the home page will display the listings. So having copied it, we're going to be pasting it on our home page so that our home page will display the listings. We go to our all pages settings. We look for, this is our home page here. We go to edit with Elementor because we are going to be putting a little bit of functionalities on this. Now we are done with creating our listings, setting up our listing plugin. We want to set up the listing homepage, so we are going to add a new section. This time around we're going to add a section like this. This is it. So I will be adding a short code to this section. So I look for the widget that allows me to add short code. So this is the widget that allows me to add short code. I'll put the widget here. I'll place my short code here and I'll update Academy listings. Okay, let's go back and view our website and see how it is performing. So we see if we can make some changes. Let's go to localhost/masterclass 2020 with a different browser. This time around I'll be using Mozilla Firefox to view localhost/masterclass 2020. Let's see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is how our listing is appearing. We have 2 items found. A classy female dress is a boosted ad, is a new listing. Then we have the 32-inch LED Samsung, new popular. Then there are some settings that I am beginning to observe, like the description is appearing on the listing page. We can change that so that the listing page will only have the name of the listing. The listing page is also displaying the name of the person who posted the ad, which we don't want to be. We just want what will appear to be the name of the listing, the location, and that's all, as well as whether it is a new tag or a boosted ad. Then above here we have sort by. Want it to be in grid form, we can choose grid. We can also change the settings so that the default listing will be in grid form. Okay, so it's in grid form, so we are going to be removing all these things. In order to do that, we'll go back to our listing settings page. We'll go back to our WordPress dashboard and we'll go to our settings. So we go to our listings archive pages. So we want to display listings. The default display should be in grid form. The default view should be in grid view. Include child categories and child locations. We don't want that. Order the listings by date posted. Sort listings by descending. Okay. Number of columns, we want 4 columns. Number of listings per page, we want 20 listings per page. Then or show or hide in header. Listing count, view selector, sort by drop down. View selector and sort by drop down should be there. Listing count should be out. Then show or hide in each listing. We want to remove the category name, location name, item price, remove the date added, listing owner, as well as the views count. Then the description length, number of characters, remove it entirely and set it at 0. Then we save changes. so we don't want any description to appear on. As we've saved the changes, we come back to our description page, our listing page, and we are going to reload. Let's see what happens here now. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we want. Classy female dress, boosted ad under women fashion, the location in Owerri. This is the price, 1,300. 32-inch LED Samsung television, Umuahia North, and this is the what? This is the price. So once I click classy female dresses, it will take me to the listing detail page. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the listing details page where I can now toggle and check the different dresses. I can contact the listing owner here using name, email address, and my message. Then show phone number, I can click and it will show the email address is hidden, as we set it to be hidden to avoid phishing. Then this is the person who posted the ad, we are seeing it here. The number of views is 1, we are seeing it here. Then this is a description. Then you can check all the listings by this user. Supposing that a user has various other listings that they are posting on the site, this is where you click it to take you to all the listings by that user. You can add this listing to your favorites. You can report abuse. All these things can be done on gg.com.ng. Then you can share on Facebook, share on Twitter, and share on WhatsApp. You can also leave or post a comment for this particular listing. So ladies and gentlemen, we've created our listing classified website. Very easy with the help of the plugin Classifies and Directory Pro. So if you look at free classified here, you see that Gigi has a category list by this side, categories. So we can do that for ourselves too by going to our listing page. Go to our listing page. Go to our listing page. We'll be adding categories so that the categories will appear by the left as well, the same way it is appearing here, so that you can basically select your categories from this. So here we're going to be adding categories there. We simply look for, this is our WordPress. We'll drag categories here. So we can give it name categories, so display as a drop down. So when someone comes and clicks here, the categories will appear, and the person will choose the category they want to use. So that is basically for adding your categories by the right. So we've not actually set the categories properly, so we are not going to be seeing any categories here. That's why we're still seeing uncategorized. If we set all the categories will appear here. So as we set as a drop down, but as you can see in Gigi here, it is not set as a drop down. The categories are listed as default. So we can also change that here. So that the categories will be listed. Categories will be listed as default here, so that each category you choose, you see the subcategories categories will appear by the left. So doing a whole lot of that right now is going to take a whole lot of our time, so we're going to leave that out. You can use that as your own lessons for testing. So we are going to update this page and then exit. So ladies and gentlemen, we've succeeded in building our listing website, and this is our listing detail page. It's time for practice. See you in our next class.